Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting. It's October 23rd, 2023. Sorry? It's on. Do you want my hearing aids? Anyway, it's the meeting of the Mayor and Council of Princeton, New Jersey. And Madam Clerk, could you read the meeting statement, please?
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, including the time, date, and location of the meeting. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of the meeting.
Thank you. Leighton, are you going to do the land acknowledgement for us?
Thank you, Mayor. We gather today on the land of the Lenni Lenape. As members of the Princeton community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come.
Thank you. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Perone-Lambros?
Here.
Ms. Niedergang?
Oh, hey, Adam in the back there. Adam's our technology guy in the back. Yep, just bring Eve in as a panelist. Thanks. Councilwoman Niedergang has, anyway, she can't be here physically, so she's going to be joining us remotely this evening. Eve, can you hear us? Oh, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Koenig is excused. Ms. Sachs?
I'm here.
Ms. Fraga?
Here.
Mr. Newland?
Here.
Mayor Frida?
Here.
You have quorum.
Okay, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to stand and join us, that'd be great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the August 14th, 2023 meeting. If someone would like to move those. Thank you, Michelle. Leticia's got the second. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a proclamation, and Michelle will start us off on that.
Proclamation, the Office of the Mayor, Municipality of Princeton, proclaiming the month of October 2023 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, an annual international health campaign, and whereas 2023 marks the 39th anniversary of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, established in 1985 by the American Cancer Society, which is dedicated to increasing awareness of breast cancer issues, especially the importance of early detection. And whereas the goal of Breast Cancer Awareness Month was to educate women about breast cancer and early detection tests so that they could take charge of their breast health. And whereas breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women, and it's the second leading cause of cancer death among women. And whereas in 2023, an estimated 297,790 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed among women, and more than 2,800 cases in men in the United States. And
whereas every 2 minutes, a woman in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and whereas mammography, an X-ray of the breast, is recognized as the single most effective method of detecting breast changes that may be cancer long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt, and whereas minority groups bear a disproportionate cancer burden because of factors such as poverty, being uninsured or underinsured, lack of access to early detection services, and high-quality treatment, and whereas men are also susceptible to breast cancer, but have a lower diagnosis rate because they report symptoms less frequently and are therefore at greater risk of developing an advanced case of breast cancer before detection. And whereas the American Cancer Society has searched endlessly for a cure through vital research and has the enormous task of educating our community and all Americans to the risk of breast cancer through its many volunteers who offer assistance in the form of support groups, accommodations, transportation, medical equipment, and more. Now therefore, Mayor Mark Frida and the Council of the Municipality of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby join the nation to recognize and proclaim October 2023 National Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you both. Okay, next up are announcements and reports. And we have a statement we're going to do. You want to?
Eve, are you,
I think my audio is on now. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you're
I
good.
can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right, so we have a statement that's from the council and the mayor, and it deals with the current conflict that's going on in the Mideast. And this has been an item that many of us have attended different gatherings of people here in the community and outside our own community on this topic. And we've been working for a little while to come up with a statement that we think is appropriate for us as a municipality to share with the public. So having said that, we are all going to take turns reading parts of the statement, and Council President Sachs will start us off.
thanks, Mark. The mayor and council acknowledge and share the grief and trauma of our community in the wake of the horrific Hamas attack on and kidnapping of civilians in Israel and the outbreak of war that has ensued as a result. We are heartbroken about what has happened, what is yet to come, and the countless innocent civilians, Israelis, Palestinians, and others who will be harmed by further violence.
We stand in solidarity with many local residents who are suffering due to the latest deadly escalation of this conflict.
We mourn with those who have lost family and friends, and we plead for the speedy return of the hostages.
We affirm our unwavering commitment to stand against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. We urge members of our community to treat one another with respect and care, and to be mindful that many are experiencing trauma at this time.
We want to reassure the community that the Princeton Police Department is in daily close contact with our faith communities and educational institutions to ensure the safety of all Princetonians.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Thank you. We close with words of wisdom from Chaplain Jennifer Helminski of New York Presbyterian Hospital. Quote, "Do not praise or stoke violence. Do not celebrate death. Regard every life with sanctity, none as collateral. Every single life deserves justice, compassion, and mercy. The foundation of peace is not and cannot be the grave of our neighbor." We now ask for a moment of silence.
Thank you all, and thank you to the council members that worked exceedingly hard on helping to create this statement. We'll now go to other announcements and reports, and we'll start with council members first. Any council members with Leticia?
I've announced this before, but just as a reminder that our Human Services Department is in the process of collecting gifts for the holiday drive. We're also taking applications from families who wish to participate. And I wanted to make the announcement tonight because we learned that one of our community partners who participates every year is going to do something different this year, so we will be short approximately 50 gifts, And so we're asking anyone in the community, if you're interested in sponsoring a child, please contact our Human Services Department, because we want to ensure that we have gifts for every one of our applicants.
Thank you, Leticia. And for those of you that follow Instagram, I actually put that on my Instagram thread yesterday, so you could look that up, and the QR code and everything is there to get to that and to volunteer to help with that program. Thanks, Leticia. Leighton.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd just like to announce that the Princeton Housing Authority has moved its main offices successfully now from Reading Circle to Spruce Circle, and this was done by all in-house staff, and it is an amazing job, and I invite you over to Spruce Circle to look at the new office environment. Also want to announce that over the past 6 to 7 months, the Housing Authority has been able to move all of the residents from the Maple Franklin area. The industrial average out here is about 12 to 18 months. They've done it in 6 months, and that makes ready what will be happening at the Maple Franklin site. So I just want to give a shout out to the maintenance staff at the Housing Authority, who's done an incredible job bringing us up to speed and creating new office environment. And now they'll be working on the office that was exited to turn that back into a community center. So 3 cheers, rah, 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 for the Princeton Housing Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Leighton. Other council reports or announcements? Okay. We'll go to staff, and then we'll go to the list of items that are here. Jim, you had a...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. A few things from the engineering department. The food scraps drop-off program starts today. Unfortunately, we had a little glitch with OpenGov, and we haven't been able to get the notifications out to the participants. But everyone that signed up will be able to participate. We had set it up that we wanted to have 100 participants here and 100 participants at Monument Hall. We had 128 people sign up for the municipal building. We had only 42 sign up for Monument Hall. I reached out this morning to 16 people who were closer to Monument Hall. So far, 7 of them have agreed to drop off at Monument, but we also talked internally, and we'll be able to accommodate everybody here that the 121 or even less, that if they want to move. They will all be notified tomorrow, and we'll start collecting food scraps. Graduate Hotel has informed us, and we've given them permission to keep Chambers Street closed for 1 more month. They ran into some structural problems in the existing building that set them back about 20 days in construction. So Chambers will remain one way until the end of January. They have posted signs that say on or about Chambers Street will be open to 2-way traffic on or about January 31st, 2024. So we're looking forward to that, even though it's a little bit late. We will have to pass an ordinance, so we'll bring an ordinance to council for approval or adoption in January to convert it back to the 2-way, because it is currently ordinanced as 1-way. Witherspoon Street Phase 3 bids were opened on Tuesday. You'll see a resolution to award to Earl Asphalt on November 27th. They were the apparent low bidder. We're in legal review at this point. The second low bidder was S. Brothers, who is the current contractor on Witherspoon Phase 2. Our engineer's estimate was $3.66 million, and Earl came in at $3.68 million. And S. Brothers was only $2,000 from there. So we're getting better at estimating how much our projects will cost. Council at your last meeting approved us reallocating $750,000 from the federal government to the Witherspoon-Jackson Neighborhood Improvements Project that I came up with. HUD has thrown a roadblock up about that, and they really want us to use it for the Witherspoon Street Improvements Project. So we spoke to the environmental compliance officer last week, and he said that if we get all the documentation in Within the next month, he will put an afternoon aside, he'll do an expedited review, and we'll still be able to use it. So I've had 3 meetings with HUD in the last 2 weeks, and they're being very cooperative, and they really want us to use this $750,000. That doesn't take Witherspoon Jackson Neighborhood Improvement Project off the table. It just means that we've got to go seek other funding for that project. The Washington Road Bridge continues to remain closed. As NJDOT announced, they anticipate opening it sometime after October 31st. I don't know what sometime means. But the important thing is that there is a gas main that is on the east side of the bridge that has to be relocated, and in order to do that, they have closed the Delaware and Raritan Canal towpath between Harrison and Washington. It's important that people know that, because if you get on the towpath at Harrison, there's no way to get off. You could end up at Washington, and then have to turn around and go all the way back. There is a lake between one and a canal on the other side, so that's important. And that's all I wanted to report on today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, no other staff reports? Thank you, Bernie. All right, our CFO, Sandy Webb, I believe, is up next.
Adam, can you switch back to, table 1? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. So this is the 13th year of the best practices inventory from the state of New Jersey. It's a handful of questions, 67 to be exact, where they assess our compliance with various laws and they evaluate our implementation of our physical and operational, what they're determining as best practices. So this year, there were 15 new questions. I know as you went through it, you saw there were a lot of unscored questions. There were a lot of questions about garbage and trash. There were also a lot of questions about lead mitigation in housing. And so I went through the questions with a little help from some of my friends in the department head level on some of the things that I was not able to answer. And the reason we go through this practice is so that it determines whether or not we lose any of our state aid. And so this year, if you scored 29 or below, you would lose almost all of your state aid. Our score this year was 39. I believe it was out of a possible 42 points. So I think we're really doing well on a lot of the things that they've determined are the best practices. Again, we're required to have this public discussion to go through the best practices. I know the new updated one was uploaded early this afternoon. The first one that was uploaded on the website, you couldn't determine what our answers were. It was the wrong document that I uploaded up there. But we've got all the right answers on there now. You have the best practices before you. I generally don't go through every one of these. It would be pretty tedious to go through 67 questions. So I will take questions if any of council have any questions in particular on any of the core competencies or the best practices or any of the other questions that are in the inventory.
Thank you, Sandy. Any council questions on our very
Mark, I have a question. I'm not sure if you can see me.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Sandy. I'm just verifying that I understood what you said. So there is a version of this that has the score on it, because the one in the packet was unscored. It was a little hard for me to know, where we were achieving the goals and where we weren't. So I don't, and I can't see the version on the screen now because it's too small, but maybe you could just briefly address, if we're only missing 3 points, maybe you could just briefly point out those areas so we sort of know what we need to work on for next year.
Sure, absolutely. And some of the questions that we are answering no on are things that we unfortunately answered no on last time as well. So question number 10 talked about road repair improvement projects, whether we have a priority scoring system. And in talking with Deanna, we do not have a priority scoring system. And Jim, I think, is going to deal with that in his presentation. So hopefully this is one that we will be able to touch on next year and be able to answer affirmative on. The next question that, and a lot of these, I'm not going to go through where we answered no because they were unscored, so it doesn't so much matter. Now, I know that we do have, I think, a policy in all of our minds on, this is question number 20, on purchasing hybrid or alternative fuel vehicles. We don't have a formal policy on this, so I did answer no. I think if this is one of the ones that was from last year. So if this is something that we can bring to council with the formal policy, then again, that is a question that we will be able to answer yes on for next year. The next question that we have, that we answered no on, where we did not score a point, was number 45. And this question deals with our personnel manual. They ask whether or not we have taken an action on the personnel manual in the past 3 years. Last year, I think we said that it was going to happen this year, and, you know, closing in on the end of the year, I don't know whether that's going to happen. Right now, we have not updated our personnel manual. However, you know, it's possible we may do it before the end of the year, but since this has to be filed on November 3rd, I'm going to, at this point, say that no, we have not done it. And, you know, again, because we're so far over the point requirement to not lose any of our state aid, if we were closer, I'd be a little more concerned about it. And then another question that we did not answer, again, this is a repeat from last year, which we have not been able to fix, and that's question number 60. So on our contract negotiations, we have to file the actual bargaining union contract with PERC, the Public Employment Relations Commission, which we do that every year. However, I don't know whether this was something that was new, but they were supposed to notify us that they needed a summary. We're in the middle of all of our contracts. I believe PBA ends this year. AFSCME is already over. We're in negotiations with them, and the fire contract is a couple of years out. I suspect with the next round of contracts that are negotiated, we will get something from PERC inquiring about this summary. So we have not done that. We didn't do it last year, again, because we were kind of in the middle of each of these contracts. And so they're really 4 questions. Some of them were half a point, so they're not all strictly 1 point. So I hope that helps, Eve.
Yeah, that's great. That's really helpful. And when you have a moment, not urgent, if you can send the scored version on to us, so just we're able to keep track, that would be
Yep,
that would
absolutely.
be great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Any other questions? Sandy, thanks for
Thank you.
all of that, and
Thanks, Andy.
thank you to everybody that contributed to getting the answers in and getting that great score on there. Thank you. I don't believe Isaac is here, so we'll go to John, the police monthly report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The September police report was prepared and is highlighted by our activity regarding the start of the school year. We conducted a bicycle safety presentation to the entire school body at Princeton Middle School. We also worked with the PTO and attended the Johnson Park Elementary School Fall Picnic. By way of update, I recently attended a Zoom presentation with the Princeton Public Schools, members of the Board of Education, and members of the community to highlight some of the work we've done to increase security in and around our schools. And this was done to help educate the community in advance of the upcoming bond referendum. Our partnership with Uber continues to be successful, as we've provided well over 100 free rides to people that have patronized many of the local restaurants and bars in town. And we look forward to continuing the program and growing it. With regard to personnel, our newest officers will be graduating the police academy in early January. I believe it's the first week in January. And we have 4 officers that will be completing their field training sometime in mid-November, which is tremendously going to help our staffing. Mayor and Council, that is my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Council, questions on the monthly police department report? Michelle.
I have one important question. Could you remind the community about Trunk or Treat? It's this Thursday, right? What is the
Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Thursday, 4 o'clock here in the parking lot that the police
Michelle,
department puts on?
apparently your microphone is not working.
What's wrong?
No, you just need to probably put it.
Am I not close enough? Sorry.
Is that soft voice?
Yeah, sorry. I thought I was close. The Trunk or Treat, can you remind the community about that?
Yes.
Fun event that you have always done traditionally?
Absolutely. This Thursday at 4 o'clock, we'll be participating in the Trunk or Treat right here in the municipal lot. It's a great event. There's a ton of fun to be had. Our police officers will be dressed and prepared, and I look forward to it. I'll be there myself. In addition to that, Friday night is the parade as well.
That's right.
That'll take place, I believe it's beginning at Heinz Plaza. So that's another great event that's well attended, and I'll be in police uniform, but I'll be in attendance for that as well.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mayor, may I also
Sure.
just add a quick comment? Chief, thank you for the report, and I just wanted to acknowledge the event that I think most of us were able to go to on October 13th, the Police Awards Dinner, and just to say how terrific it was to spend the evening with the police department, and how wonderful it is that you've reinstituted this after many years. Everybody, great time. Really appreciate it. It really seemed to bring the police department together. And as a member of council, it was great to be able to interact with people. So just really thank you so much for bringing that back. And I look forward to attending in future years.
Thank you. I really appreciate those words. And by all accounts, the women and the men of the department truly appreciated you all attending, and we had a great night as well, and we look forward to growing that event in the years to come. So thank you, Eve, very much.
Okay. Anything else on the police report? Okay, moving on. Next up is a presentation, roadway condition inventory presentation by our Assistant Municipal Engineer. Jim, it's all you.
Adam, can I have the screen, please? Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council, residents of Princeton. This evening, we're going to talk about our roadway condition inventory. Why conduct a roadway condition, pavement condition inventory? It is a very important resource allocation tool to us. It allows us to make data-driven decisions that allow us to choose the right treatment of our roads at the right time and on the right roads to extend the pavement life. In the past, what we've been doing is removing the top 2 inches of pavement through milling and putting back top 2 inches of pavement from milling. That may or may not be the right treatment at the right time on the right road. So last year, Princeton hired Advanced Infrastructure Design to obtain an inventory of our roads. AID is expert in analysis of the roadways and uses a very sophisticated vehicle that has integrated equipment on it, like ground penetrating radar, crack detection, takes videos, and tests for smoothness of the roadways as well. This inventory and the subsequent recommendations are one part of a pavement asset program, pavement asset management program, and a strategy. Again, it's a data-driven decision-making tool to apply the resources that we have available to choose the right treatment at the right time on the right roads. I'm going to repeat that over and over again. Research has shown that applying pavement preservation techniques at the right time will extend the life of a pavement, and that trying to fix a road with the wrong treatment too late in the pavement's life is just a waste of resources. At some point, we have to rebuild the road instead of trying to continue to patch it. Just like anything that you own, at some point, maintaining it becomes a waste of your own resources. So the test vehicle has traveled over every road in the municipality. Every municipal road has been photographed every 20 feet for a visual representation. The data that's been collected with the test vehicle has been integrated and displayed alongside the photo in our data that's been given to us. This will assist us in determining where to perform the various treatments that are available and provide us with the data regarding roadside assets such as curbing, sidewalks, driveways, signs, and other features. In the screenshot that you see on the right-hand side is a detailed image of the roadway, the cracks, and the ruts that exist in that roadway. And there, if you look on the left-hand side, you see the actual photograph, and you can see some of the pavement distresses, particularly in the lower right-hand corner of that photograph. And that is picked up in the ground-penetrating radar and the crack detection software. Good news. Our pavement conditions are actually very good. I know a lot of people would dispute that from the ride quality that we have, but 95% of Princeton road pavements are in good to very good condition. I want to stress that this is based on what's known as a surface distress index. And that surface distress index is an indication of the structural integrity of the roads. So while Princeton road pavements are in good to very good condition, that doesn't necessarily mean that the surface is a great ride quality. But it does tell us that we do not have a lot of roads that need to be completely reconstructed, that we can treat these roads and provide a better riding surface without having to remove pavement that is still structurally sound and replacing it with new pavement. It did collect, AID did collect information about the smoothness of the roads. The smoothness of the road is quantified in what's called the International Roughness Index. That is a measure of the change in the profile of the road, and usually, well, internationally centimeters per kilometer, but here it's inches per mile. And there are a number of different researches that shows interstate highways, for example, should be in very good condition, should not have more than 70 inches per mile of profile change. And that's an additive thing. And the federal government says that if it's more than 170 inches per mile, then the road needs to be reconstructed. We also collected, AID also collected information on the depth of the ruts in the roadway and the surface distress index, as I mentioned, which is SDI, which is on the chart that you see. SDI is more than just detecting cracks. It's the type of cracks, it's how frequent the cracks are, and it really is an indication of the structural integrity of the roadway. High-resolution video was also collected for use in evaluating other aspects of the roadway, so we have this information. We can open up the video, we can see visually what was taking place that day, and we can see the roadside assets like the signs, the curbing, the sidewalks. As I said, vast majority of our roads are in very good condition based on cracking and rutting. None of our roads were classified in the very poor category, which is an SDI, a structural distress index of between 0 and 1. We only have a very few locations where they're poor. One of them is Dickinson Street And we are currently preparing plans for the reconstruction of Dickinson Street, so very timely. We also have a small portion of Library Place that is in poor condition, and we want to get everything up to good to very good. Every municipal road has been mapped with its condition indicated. We have a file that allows us to see the condition of each road mapped on Google Earth, and we can zoom in and see the portions of the road that are in good, very good, and poor condition. Again, this is another tool to assist us in determining where to perform the various treatments that we have available to us. From the data that's been collected, the final surface distress indices are determined and evaluated to select the appropriate treatments to achieve a final pavement rating in the very good range. So Sandy can answer yes to that question. The recommended pavement, oops, sorry, I zipped through by accident. The recommended pavement treatment types range from doing nothing, of which we have over 13% of our roads are being recommended to do nothing, to preservation treatments, thin overlays, milling and paving. In the past, when a road appeared to be in poor condition, the answer was always mill and pave. Now we have more tools in our toolbox, and 75% of our roads can be improved by employing other preservation treatments. Of course, these recommendations are only one part of the picture. We can approach our decision-making process through two different approaches or theories. One is the worst first approach. This is where we allocate our precious resources to fix the worst roads. And we do it based on surface distress index. Two things that we can do is full depth mill and pave, 2-inch mill and pave, then overlay, then pavement preservation. This takes our funds and says, we've got a really bad road, we've got to fix it. And we spend more money fixing that than we could probably spread out over a lot of roads that we could preserve. The mix of fixes approach allocates resources for maximum service life extension. So we take all of the tools in the toolbox, we attack all of our roads, we can get more roads done for the same amount of funds and bring them up to good to very good condition. Again, we're looking at this based on surface distress index. We can sort segments by treatment type. If you take one of our roads, you might see that part of it is in very good condition. In the past, we would say, mill and pave this entire road, and we'd be taking up perfectly good as well as some bad. Now we can look at it in terms of segments, and we can stop our treatment at the right location. The ranking is based on a final pavement rating. It's based on what the SDI is today, plus what each of these treatments is expected to give us in terms of a better pavement rating. So we have a spreadsheet of over 700 different segments of our roadways with recommendations from AID as to what to do to bring them to that very good or good condition. Of course, SDI isn't the only thing we want to use. Pavement condition isn't the only data. We also have to look at what type of roadway is it? What is it classified as? What is the character of the neighborhood through which that road travels? What is the traffic volume? How many trucks do we have on it? What do our master plans say about it? If we have to, for example, do we want to add bike paths? Do we want to improve our sidewalks? Are there ADA ramps at the intersections? Are the ADA ramps currently compliant, or do we have to bring them up to speed? All of these things go into our decision-making process in terms of what roads that we're going to put into our next program. We also want to look at current and future improvement programs. We have some corridor studies going on. For example, in our database, the inventory has shown that there are stretches of North Harrison Street that are in less than good condition. Do we spend that money now, or do we wait until we complete our corridor study, which, by the way, you will be getting a presentation on at our next council meeting as to where we are in our corridor study for Harrison. So do we throw money at it now, only to tear it up later when we're putting in intersection improvement projects? Where are we with sanitary sewer projects? Do we want to spend money to resurface a roadway or treat a roadway that in a couple of years we're going to tear up to put in a new sanitary sewer? All of the utility work that's going on. Utility companies are paving a lot of our roads. They're paving their trenches and then coming back and paving our roads, I should say. So we have a lot of work by PSE&G right now and New Jersey American Water. We are working with them to improve our roads that they're working on, skip roads that we know we're going to be working on, doing a lot of what I like to call horse trading over what does PSE&G have to do and what can we ask them to do. Same thing with New Jersey American Water. When they replace a water main, they typically repave the entire road. So we need to know what their plans are for the future. And also, of course, the developer improvements. Do we want to repay? Do we even want to have PSE&G, for example, when they replace the gas main on Terhune, to even bother repaving Terhune when we know the developer is going to be doing half of it and we're going to be doing half of it? All of those things have to be considered when we set a program out. So I'm going to show you this is just a snapshot of the 700 and something roadway segments that we have. These were the recommendations provided to us by AID, first in that theory of worst first approach and then in the mix of fixes approach. So as you see, I cut out the streets so that I wasn't implying that we were actually going to do improvements on any particular street, but each of the lengths is shown there. They actually do the inventory. They broke the inventory out into 500ths of a mile every 250 feet. And they have the average SDI. You'll notice the very first one is 1.9 is the current SDI. So they're recommending mill for, pave for, which is essentially a reconstruction project. And that will bring us up to only a 3.1 final pavement rating, which is good. Not very good, but good. So that type of road, I would recommend we have to look at more deeply and determine whether or not we've got to get down to the base structure and actually rebuild the road, because 3.1 is not a great improvement. I'm sorry, my apologies. 3.1 is the actual improvement. If we did do mill for and pave for, it would bring us to a 5, and 5 is the best. On the next spreadsheet, the first row, 3.6 is the current SDI. If we do a preservation treatment, we'll bring it to 4.3, and et cetera, et cetera. So we look at every segment that we are looking at, every segment of every road in town right now, and trying to determine what do we want to do next year. And the next step is going to be whether or not we look at all of the other pavement preservation techniques. Our first step right now, since we've provided our capital budget requests, what are we going to do from a resurfacing program, and look at roads that we're recommending for both pavement preservation and resurfacing. We may end up resurfacing next year where a pavement preservation technique would be enough. Partly because of where the segments lie. You don't want to do a pavement preservation treatment on one half of the roadway and then a mill and pave on the other half. So again, a lot of stuff goes into this. Road segments recommended for full depth milling may require complete reconstruction and may be considered for future. So some people are going to say, well, why aren't you paving this road? We're going to have to say, because we have to rebuild the road. Road segments that recommended as do nothing may be skipped even if the rest is resurfaced. So there are, again, segments that we're going to stop our treatment, skip it, and then start up again. So we are working on developing a prioritized pavement preservation program using the mix of fixes approaches. Now let me talk a little bit about what pavement preservation means. There's a whole toolbox of pavement preservation techniques. And you'll get, I'll get a sales job from the companies that do this. You have fog seals, which is essentially coming along and like sealing your driveway. Paint it black, we like to call it. That fog seal might buy you a couple of years. Microsurfacing is another technique where they mix liquid asphalt with some sand and they put that down. That might buy you a few years. One of the problems, we have to look at the cons to all of this as well, because a microsurface or a fog seal won't do anything for the surface. So the road will still be as rough as it was. A microsurfacing might actually make the road rougher and noisier. So we have to look at, is it a residential neighborhood where the tire noise is going to be in effect? Slurry seals. There are chip seals, cape seals, and on until you get to what I would like to see in Princeton is that we are milling off the rough surface and putting back what we call an ultra-thin friction course. So we can mill a 1/2 inch off and put back 3/8 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch. And that, we're obviously putting less tonnage down of asphalt, and therefore, if we're spending the same amount every year, we can get many more roads done. So those are the things that we're working on right now for next year's resurfacing program. Any questions? I talked a lot.
That makes it so easy. Now I know what streets we're doing next year. Thank you. All right. Council, questions or comments? Jim, I'd just like to say we're glad that you guys just told us this was a great program to do and that we allocated the money to do it. Because obviously when we go to do road work, it makes sense to be data-driven and not just flying by the seat of our pants. So.
And I'm going to give a little bit of kudos to AID. They knew we were resurfacing roads this summer. So even though they went out and did the inventory once, they're coming back and they're doing the inventory on the roads that we've already resurfaced so that they can take them out of the data that says we should do something, because we don't have to do anything anymore. They've also asked us, where's PSE&G going to do the work? So they're great to work with, and they're we don't have a final report yet because they sat down with us a couple of weeks ago, and we went through and by the way, IRI is not a great tool for residential streets, only because there's what we call a lot of steel in the road, a lot of manholes, a lot of valves, et cetera, which gives us bad data, really. But we do know that we have a lot of rough roads where we've patched potholes over and over and over again, and those definitely need to be milled and resurfaced.
Thanks, Jim. Eve?
Yeah, thank you so much. When my face appears, that does mean I want to say something. Thank you. So, Jim, this is just phenomenal. I mean, we've been struggling for so long to use our resources in sensible ways, and this is great. And it'll be also, a way for us to prioritize and to respond to residents when they have issues in, as you said, a really data-driven way. So you've talked a bit about the financial angle on this. Can you talk a little bit about the environmental angle? Are there environmental benefits that we reap by like resurfacing rather than doing the milling and the taking up the 2 inches. I mean, it seems like there would be, but if you could talk a little bit about that, I'd be very interested in that.
I just, in general, the environmental impact is that we're no longer removing good pavement to stockpile it in a reclaimed asphalt pavement pile at some quarry or asphalt plant. Reclaimed asphalt pavement, unfortunately, is one of the struggles that we have in this state. We are the only state in the country that considers it an environmental problem. I know of a 5 million ton stockpile in North Jersey that the owner of that stockpile has a very difficult time getting rid of it because of the restrictions placed by NJDEP on its use. It is a reusable product, it's recyclable, but restrictions in New Jersey create mountains of it, and we don't want mountains of it. So if we can reduce the amount that we're removing, we can lessen the impact on the environment of stockpiling it. That's the best. That's the best impact of not making
That is
pavement.
number one thing on the reduce, reuse, recycle. So reduce is, absolutely the key environmental thing. So just thanks for emphasizing that. Appreciate it.
And I'm sorry, Eve brought something else to my mind. The state has just passed a law that actually says that municipalities must use an asphalt mix that includes 50% reclaimed asphalt pavement in the base course and 35% in the surface course. That may or may not be a good thing because there are no specifications for an asphalt mix of that type. I have written one that I'm presenting to the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers to see if we can get everybody to buy into it so that we have a way of making sure that it's a good quality pavement, because when you start reusing the stone and the asphalt in a reclaimed asphalt pavement, you've got to make sure that it's going to perform. Otherwise, you're removing it a few years later and putting it back again, and we don't want to get into that situation either.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. Great. All right, next up is public comments for items not on the agenda. So you get to come up to the microphone, speak into the microphone. You have 3 minutes. And when you start, it would be really helpful to us if you could give us your name and address, and then whatever your topic is. Is that, can we check and see if that microphone's on?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Christy Cole. I live at 244 Dodds Lane in the Littlebrook neighborhood. A few months back, I started a petition to get a sidewalk on a section of Snowden Lane. And it's been signed by 500 of our neighbors who support the idea. And your own advisory committee, PBAC, the Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee, support this petition and distributed a letter to each of you recently. So the it's a 0.3 mile stretch of Snowden Lane between Overbrook Drive and Van Dyke Road. It's the missing puzzle piece in the flow of pedestrian traffic on this side of town. What makes this stretch of Snowden so dangerous is you have fast traffic going 35 miles an hour, layered with people flowing out of the parks on a very narrow road with very deep ditches. So the combination of all those things make this 0.3 mile stretch quite dangerous. If you've never been walking around the neighborhood, I just urge you to try it. Try walking it. If you go on a nice day, you'll see other pedestrians out there because they're walking it. And you'll also look down and see that there's nowhere to safely dodge traffic. You're in a deep ditch. This map that I've brought is an enlarged section of the sidewalk map, from the existing master plan. The red and the blue sections our existing sidewalks, and the green represents the planned sidewalks. This map was created 16 years ago, so it has been on the plan for that long at least, to have a sidewalk there. The good news is, I took my red marker and filled in where the developers have already started or will soon be creating a side path. So it just leaves this little piece of the puzzle that's missing a gap in the sidewalk there. On the map 2.5 miles away is Littlebrook School, and this current gap prevents children who live a half a mile from the school from safely walking or biking to school. And the same for children coming from the east side of town, going over to Princeton Middle School and Princeton High School. It's just not a safe passage. So you have people who would like to be using it to commute by foot who have to take cars or buses instead. I've communicated with the town's engineering team on this matter, and I understand there's environmental challenges connected, and there may be additional permitting needed and maybe time needed. And so I think all the more reason to start now if it's going to take a long time. And I just look at the developers up the block. If they can do it in the same conditions and get the right permits, then the town can too. So I just urge you to be proactive and to prioritize closing the gap in the sidewalk on Snowden Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the visual aid.
I'm Sebastian Cole. I think there should be a sidewalk on Snowden because walkers, bikers, and cars all have to share a busy road. And at any time, there could be a serious injury. And lots of kids have to go through there to get to school or other activities every day. And sometimes after dark, there's a big ditch on the side of the road with no lights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paula Vinuka. I'm here as a resident of this neighborhood as well. I live on Leabrook Lane. I'm a parent of 3 children who have been at Littlebrook, the middle school, and the high school. Our family is frequently walking and biking along Snowden Lane, and I just want to call attention to the fact that this is a very dangerous section. There is no sidewalk, there's no lane. There are ditches on both sides of the walk, of the roadway. And with the construction that's going on in that part of town, we think there's going to be an increase in people who are using the road. Cyclists, there will be more cyclists, there will be more pedestrians, and there will be more cars. So we just want to call attention to this issue now. We realize that the council has many priorities on its plate, but we think this is one area where perhaps the town can be proactive in terms of starting to look at the issue early on and making plans in order to address it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Keena Lipsitz. I live at 246 Shady Brook, and I am here because of Christie's petition, which I also signed. I am somebody who regularly walks in the middle of Snowden Lane, or kind of in the middle of Snowden Lane, because there is no place to, when you come out of, I think it's called the Van Dyke Woods there, you can go left or go right. There is no sidewalk either way, unless you go straight onto Terhune. And if you go left, which is what I always do, I know exactly where I can jump out of the way if the cars are, I always walk into traffic, and when I get to Harry's Brook, I'm always relieved because the bridge is a little wider right there, and so I really can scooch off to the side. But I regularly see other people walking or running the other way, and we're all playing chicken with the cars that are coming head on. So this is something that I think is important. It's an accident waiting to happen. So I hope you guys will consider doing something about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Heldner of 139 Harrison Street, Princeton. I'm president of the Friends of Farrentown Woods. I've been going up that's rode Snowden for a long time, and I think I've even talked to Deanna and others with the engineering department about, possibly making room on the bridge for pedestrians, or even possibly using the historic bridge that is still there right next to it, a little lower. Fascinating bridge, interesting construction, and worthy of saving, and it'd be fantastic if that could be used. I wanted to mention also that up above Van Dyke, heading towards Herringtown Road, there's really an opportunity to get that section of the trail in sooner. I know there, I hope certainly that Prentice Development is required to put one in, and hopefully they put it in a lot sooner than the Windy Top folks did. The Windy Top put it in at the very last, as one of the last things they did at that development, and I'm hoping that Prentice can put it in at the beginning, and then that would at least link us up. And if the town could put in that last little 100-foot section, just before the turnoff for Herringtown Woods, that seems like a real easy thing to do, to connect that to Windy Top's sidewalk. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for acting very soon on a portion of it, and then also getting going early on figuring out how you can possibly get across the stream there further down, because that's the gauntlet there. And it's sad to see a charming country road have to be expanded somehow to, times have changed and there's much more intense traffic along there, and it is very dangerous. And I've seen cars in the ditch as well and had to try to save one from being lost in the ditch. So it's just dangerous for everybody. And I hope you can do something about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else in the room have public comment for anything not on the agenda? All right. Okay, Adam, I see we have a number of hands up online, so let's start bringing people over.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Portia Wong. I've lived in Princeton for over 30 years. I live on Snowden Lane and have lived on this street for 8 years. I'm just up the hill from where the Van Dyke right spits out, intersecting with Van Dyke. Christy, I'm speaking today to express my strong support for a sidewalk on Snowden. I know that Christy has already gone through some of the specifics about which parts are covered and which parts aren't, so I'll skip ahead. But yes, again, there's this third or half mile of Snowden Lane between Van Dyke and Overbrook that really is an accident waiting to happen. As people have said, the stretch of Snowden has no sidewalk, there's no shoulder, it runs straight into these deep irrigation ditches on both sides. So if a car comes, you just have to hope it doesn't hit you. The speed limit on that part of Snowden is 35, but also if you're approaching Nassau Street, you're also going downhill. So the cars are routinely going much closer to 45 miles per hour. So as you can see, it's obviously not a safe place to be on foot or on bike, but it's frequently traveled by cyclists and pedestrians, people walking their dogs, and there are a lot of children who live in the area. And we all know that there are more moving to this part of town. And so those children, those families, they can't safely walk to Littlebrook, and they can't safely walk to the local park either. Someone else mentioned seeing cars in the ditch. I feel like I see about one a year, maybe more, that have upended into these ditches. So they're really not safe at all. I wanted to relay some anecdotes about things that have happened to me on this road as I'm walking along. There's about 400 feet between my house and the intersection with Van Dyke, which really isn't very much. However, when my children were younger, I would frequently walk home up Snowden Lane, pushing my twin babies in a stroller and walking with my toddler, and had cars stop me all the time to say, oh, hey, it's not safe to be in the straight like that. No, take the long way through the Van Dyke right to get to the park. Don't walk on Snowden Lane. I'm like, well, I live here. I have to. This is how I get home. Last year, I was participating in Little Brook's Walk to School Day. I obviously didn't walk my kids all of the way down Snowden Lane because, like I said, it's really not safe. But I'm like, oh, the 400 feet to the Van Dyke right, that should be fine. As I was walking down the street with my 3 young children in hand, a car slowed down and the driver made an obscene gesture at us. Really. And so these are just 2 small incidents, and I could go on and on because this type of stuff happens almost every day. I've been almost run off the road more times than I can count by cars that don't bother to move over, even though that's the law, or even slow down as they go flying past you. And so not only is the road dangerous because of it being frequently used as a cut through from Route 1 to Nassau Street, the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit, sidewalk shoulder, everything everyone's already said. But it's the driver behavior on this road also that's frightening at best, and it's only a matter of time before someone gets hit. And so, sadly, this is the type of behavior that Snowden residents have to put up with on our home street because Princeton hasn't completed this part of the master plan yet. So respectfully, I urge you to please commit to keeping sidewalks on Snowden as part of the master plan and give this stretch of town the highest priority towards Princeton's goals of walkability. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, there you go. We can hear you.
Okay, great. This is Adam Welch from the Arts Council of Princeton. Thank you so much for hearing me tonight. I'm going to break up the cadence here and talk a little bit about. I just wanted to mention that the October 27th hometown Halloween parade is Palmer Square. We leave out of Palmer Square, not Heinz Plaza. So just a public service announcement there. I want to give a big shout out to Jim and Deanna for all they have done during this tumultuous time on Witherspoon Street. They're always so positive. It's always nice to see. So thank you all very much for that. Jim, sorry to hear about the urban project that you were working on, the urban trail project for HUD funding. Hopefully you can revisit that at some other time. I also want to give a big shout out to Princeton University, who on October 22nd celebrated 277 years. That's no small feat. Congratulations on that. And I'm not sure if council and mayor know, but I do want to give a big shout out to artshealthmercer.org. If you're not familiar with this, it's a month-long celebration of the arts and health. And it's put together with Art Against Racism, or the Arts Council of Princeton, of course, McCarter, Morven, the library, Princeton Symphony Orchestra, Princeton University Art Museum, West Windsor Arts, and the Princeton University Concert. So it's a big consortium of organizations that are getting together to celebrate the great good benefits of the arts. And since I'm on the topic, November 4th is the kickoff for that at the RWJ Center, but that's also the day of the Day of the Dead celebration at the Arts Council of Princeton at 1 o'clock, which is free and open to the public. That's it. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Okay. Who's next, Adam?
Hello.
Lauren?
Hi there. This is Lauren Seams, Morven Place. I wanted to talk about a trend I've been seeing that then finds its way to come in front of one of the BCCs that the town council has established, the Historic Preservation Commission. I don't know if the board is aware of this, but at each of the last 3 meetings, one of the items on the agenda has been a violation. One was solar panels installed without permission. One was for windows replaced in a historic home without permission. And one was for a structure, a garage, in a historic district that was demolished without permission. I've noticed that these homeowners come before the board lawyered up and with some pretty interesting excuses. The last 3 meetings we've heard I was out of town. The builder didn't tell me what kind of windows he was using. I didn't know my house was in a historic district. Clearly, quite a few folks have decided that it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Once a structure is demolished, it can't be remedied. Particularly now with the historic element, one of the parts of the master plan I would like to ask the board just to think about how seriously it takes historic preservation and how it can perhaps support the historic commission preservation commission when it comes to compliance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eric?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Eric Enright, and I live at 404 Snowden Lane. So I'm at the part of Snowden Lane at the bottom where it transitions to 35 miles an hour. We love living in the Littlebrook neighborhood. We have 3 kids here that 2 of them currently attend Littlebrook. 1 goes to the middle school. And, you know, we love to be able to walk or bike or scooter to school. But as has been made very clear, the section of Snowden that we live on is a dangerous one because people fly down the road. And, you know, sometimes we can think it's our imagination, but I had an opportunity to have a conversation with the Princeton Police Department, and they said, yes, Snowden Lane is one of the top 5 most enforced streets in the town. And it's very concerning that at this particular section where you have lots of kids, lots of traffic, people walking, jogging, biking the street at all hours of the day, whether it's adults going to Smoyer Park, kids going to school. It's a dangerous situation, and one that we hope the township would prioritize. You know, I've seen plenty of close calls, and I know, unfortunately, know animal control fairly well because deer get hit on this road. And what I don't want to see is that deer that's on the side of the road ends up being somebody. And so that's why I asked the town to say, hey, can we put some priority on this and consider strongly putting in a sidewalk, because there's just so many people and cars don't really mix well.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Whoever Princeton parent is, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Farah Enright. I live on the part of Snowden Lane where it's very hard to get to school because I'm a student of Littlebrook, and I usually bike to school, and it's awfully hard for me to get to school and dodging the cars at the same time because sometimes the cars won't slow down for you. And that's why I want sidewalks on that part of Snowden, because that would make my and a lot of other kids' way of getting to school a lot easier. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we've gotten yeah, okay, that's it. I just want to make sure that we got everybody. All right, I think we did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say for everyone who's here on this issue, thank you, Kina and Steve and Pallavi and Christy and your family. And as chair of our Infrastructure and Operations Department, as you all know, this is something that we've been grappling with. The staff has been in conversation with DEP. If we could wave a magic wand and create sidewalks there, I hope you know we would do it. This is a really challenging project because of the environmental constraints, because of a whole variety of interlocking challenges and obstacles that we need to sort through, not all of which we are in control of. The staff has been working on this for some time, and also, and we will be gearing up for goal setting for 2024, I think is the upcoming year, very soon. And so this will, be something that will be taken into consideration. As with all other projects, the calculation is looking into how to prioritize our financial resources, how many people benefit, what the time frame is, and we will certainly keep you apprised of our deliberations and how we're evaluating that, and we'll let you know when there are opportunities to come and speak again during goal setting. But again, if there were an easy way, if it was just a matter of creating sidewalks or some path through there, we would have done it a long time ago. The fact that it is not already done speaks to the challenges that are in this project, some of which could be quite immense in terms of financial expenditures, and just keeping in mind that we always have to think about how many taxpayers benefit from an individual project and how many taxpayers are paying for that project. And those are the sorts of trade-offs that we obviously weigh in every decision that we make. So just wanted to provide some context. But thank you so much for coming out, and it was a real treat to see the kids.
Leighton.
Yeah, I just want to, I travel Snowden Lane all the time. To be honest, seldom on my scooter because of the danger of Snowden Lane. But I think I can speak on behalf of Mia, who just spoke, and the rest of the mayor and council, that we hear you. We know the danger of Snowden Lane, and I particularly want to thank the young people for coming out and to address mayor and council in the way that they have. It's always good to see young people engage in civic engagement. And we hear you about the dangers of Snowden Lane, and as Mia said, we would wave a magic wand if we could, but we are going to be looking to make it safer. And we're also looking at Terhune Road, which kind of presents the same sort of problems, although not as dangerous as Snowden Lane. So thanks for coming out and bringing this to our attention again. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, thank you again. We always encourage people to come and talk to us. It's a good thing. Thank you. Okay, next up we have a number of ordinance introductions. And just as a reminder, we don't discuss ordinance introductions because there's actually public hearings on the ordinances, so we can't discuss them prior to the public hearing. Having said that, first up is ordinance 2023-31, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton authorizing a license agreement for Block 47, Lot 19.02, Princeton Tax Map, 37 Bank Street, pursuant to NJSA 40A12-1. The public hearing would be November 21st, 2023. Would someone make a motion on that? Thank you, Michelle. Leighton has the second. That's a roll call vote.
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is ordinance 2023-32. An ordinance pursuant to NJSA 40A12-4C, authorizing the extension of the Monument Hall lease with PCH Development Corp., Inc. Public hearing November 21st, 2023. Thank you, Michelle. Letitia's got the second. Roll call vote again.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2023-33, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton pertaining to stormwater management and amending Chapter 10B of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. Public hearing would be November 21, 2023. Mia's got the motion. Leighton's got the second. Roll call vote again.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yep.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2023-34, An ordinance of the municipality of Princeton regulating privately owned salt storage and amending Chapter 33 of the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974. Public hearing November 21st, 2023. Michelle's got the motion, Mia's got the second. Roll call vote.
Ms. Pearl Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2023-35, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton repealing the local pay-to-play regulations pursuant to PL 2023 C.30 and amending the code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. Public hearing November 21st, 2023. Would someone move that? Thank you, Leticia. Layton's got the second. Roll call vote.
Ms. Pearl Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to resolutions. 23-331, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton establishing an ad hoc public art program study committee. Michelle's got the motion, Leticia's got the second. Questions and comments?
I'd like to make a few comments if I can. Well, first of all, we did a presentation by Adam Welch and James Stewart, both from the head of the Art Museum at the university and the head of the Arts Council, which we heard from earlier. We're very, very fortunate in our town to have such knowledge and experience come to bring this type of a master plan for public art to our town. So this is the next step. We discussed it. And what we'd like to do now is put together this ad hoc committee, and they will then explore various methodologies and ways that we can do some type of funding, and also have a standing committee if we move forward, a mechanism for funding, and then a standing committee. So this is just a temporary ad hoc committee to get started. And I thank them very much for all the service that they've put in and what they're about to do as well. So thanks.
Other questions or comments? So I just have two questions/comments. This is a group that will make a recommendation, which we may or may not agree to wholeheartedly or
Yes.
partially or whatever.
Yes.
Right?
So this group will come together. We'll do applications. We'll start with James and with Adam heading this up. We'll do applications to become part of this ad hoc committee. It's a temporary committee, has 12 months in existence, and within that time frame, they will come to council with some recommendations. If council wants to move forward, we would need to then ordinance for a standing committee, and we would ordinance for any type of funding mechanism.
Okay, and then, sorry, just one more.
Mm-hmm.
In the second, whereas, it talks about expand public art acquisition through a 1% for art program, but that is just one methodology, so there could be others. They're not limited to just that.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
23-332, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing a contract with Tyus Inc. as the dealer for multi-hog using Sourcewell National Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 111522-MUL, airport runway equipment for a multi-hog CV350 sweeper for $165,887. And no, we are not opening an airport.
You got to wonder who names these things.
Yeah, just in case. Michelle's moving that. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. Questions, comments, Michelle?
So, yeah, this will help in terms of cleaning, this is a question to Jim. This will help in terms of cleaning our new pavers and other, I would imagine, other sidewalks and other things that we are doing in town. You just give a little explanation. It's expensive, but I know we need to do it right, so.
Yes, it is a multi-purpose machine. We're going to use it to sweep the newly placed pavers, sidewalk, and roadway on Witherspoon Street, as well as other sidewalks in the Central Business District. It can be used, we may be coming back to you later with requests for attachments, because it can be used as a snowplow, it can be used as a vacuum, it can be used in a number of different ways. It's a very versatile machine. Princeton University just recently purchased one, and they love it.
Okay, thank you. That's one heck of a price tag for a vacuum cleaner, but yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? There was a second on that, right? Thank you, sorry. Yeah, and I would say it is important that we spend all that money on Witherspoon Street, especially to keep it clean.
Exactly.
All right, if there's no other comments, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 23333, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the use of competitive contracting to solicit proposals for home energy assessment services. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Mia. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 23334, a resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the execution of a subrecipient agreement with Princeton Senior Resource Center for senior case management and allocation of Mercer County American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, period September 1, 2023 to December 31, 2026. The amount is $75,000 of ARPA funds. Is there a thank you, Leticia. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
23335, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing change order number 3 to the professional services agreement with Whitman in connection with soil management and disposal at 298 River Road, and increasing contract amount by an additional $408,000 for new, not to exceed contract amount of $2,622,109. It pains me to ask somebody to move this, but we need somebody to move it. Thank you, Leticia. Is there a second? Michelle seconded it. We really have no choice on this matter. Yes, please.
Where are we, Trishka and Bernie, with getting the suing our insurance company so that they would cover what they should cover and they haven't covered, and I hope they will cover?
I know we just received an amended, potential amended complaint today from the attorney handling that for if we had any comments. He added 2 counts to that complaint, and I think he said it's going to be filed tomorrow. But the complaint is completely drafted at this point, so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Other questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
23336, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the award of a professional services agreement to the Nader Group LLC for engineering services in connection with the Quaker Road roadway embankment/stream bank stabilization project for an amount not to exceed $172,700. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Layton. Is there a second? Thank you, Mia. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 23337, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing a contract with H.A. DeHart and Son as the distributor for Scranton Manufacturing using Sourcewell National Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 091219-NWY for an 8-yard compactor trash truck for $139,807.56. Layton's got the motion. Michelle's got the second. Questions or comments?
Just a comment again. I know some of this is for the various business districts, and we've been really doing a great job. I just want to thank the whole department, Dan Van Meter in particular, Deanna and Jim, and everyone in the team. They're really doing a much better job, and it really looks good. So thank you. I know we need to make the investment now, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 23338, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing down payment assistance program, 121 Hamilton Avenue. Leticia's got the motion. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next up is the consent agenda, 16 routine matters. If no one wants any of those pulled out for specific discussion, someone could move them all in mass. Leighton moving them all?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second? Michelle? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, David's not here. Who wants the honors of moving that we adjourn?
I'll move.
Leticia, seconded by Leighton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are done. Thank you all for tuning
Thank
in
you.
tonight. Have a great evening.